Hey everybody, this is Vince Miller. So below today, you're going to see a timeline of all the events that happened on this day in history. Friday was a very long day in the life of Jesus. Believers have often dubbed this day Good Friday. And this time each year, reading and I think remembering these events is a very good practice for us. This might be an excellent tradition to establish if you have not done so yet. But the question that's going to come to mind when you skim over my timeline below and all the verses is this: what makes this day so good? And to answer that question, we're going to have to look beyond the events of this day. We've got to look beyond what people are doing to Jesus and see what Jesus is doing. But to see what Jesus is doing, we need to reference some other scriptures. Today I'm going to share 4 with you. And these 4 scriptures describe in great detail the story behind the story. They reveal a divine plan that was far greater than man's plan, and they tell us why this day is so good. So first, we have Romans 3:23. It reads, "For all," that's everybody, "has sinned and fall short of what? The glory of God. We have destroyed his glory." Second, Galatians 3:13, which reads, "Christ redeemed us," that's bought us back, "from the curse of the law," that's the reality of the legal law, "by becoming a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is everyone who is hanged on a tree." That's a reference to a cross. Third, Colossians 2:14 reads, "God, by canceling the record of debt that stood against us," that's because of our sin, "with its legal demands," referenced in the previous verse, "this he set aside," doing what? Nailing it to a cross. And then fourth, my favorite, 2 Corinthians 5:21. It reads, "For our sake, he, God, made him, Jesus, to be sin who knew no sin, so that in him, Jesus, we might become the righteousness of God." So now let's take these 4 incredible scriptures and put them together into one complete idea, an idea that describes, I believe, the divine plan that God had on this day and what Jesus was doing, which makes today so incredibly good. So Jesus, on this day in history, took all of our self-glorifying sin that despises God and his glory and bore it on his physical body. At the moment Jesus was laid down and nailed to that cross, God was nailing all our sins onto Jesus' sinless body. Jesus was unjustly sentenced, beaten, tortured, mocked, and nailed naked to a cross for my sin and yours. And if we look exclusively at the historical timeline of events on this day, we're going to miss it. We will only see what sinful men were doing to Jesus. But there was something Jesus is doing here. Simultaneously, there was a divine plot being revealed. Something unseen and supernatural was unfolding at the same time. Jesus was redeeming sinners. He was buying them back. He was lifting the curse by hanging as a curse on a tree for you and for me. And in doing so, he paid the penalty and canceled our debt. One sinless man purchased the debt of our sin by becoming sin so that we might know what? The righteousness of God. But if a person doesn't believe that they're a sinner, they're going to look at this day with great confusion. They will only see the injustice of it, and they're going to marvel at why we call today good. But for me, a man who knows I'm a sinner, I look at this day differently because I've done nothing but sin, and I deserve punishment for it. I see what Jesus was doing on this day as glorious. Today is the day a sinless man paid the penalty for my sin that I might know the righteousness of God. And that, fellas, is what makes today so good. I love you. I pray this has blessed you. Pass, share it with someone else. I'll see you right back here again